The man was astonished to discover he could actually see the prize amounts on scratch-off tickets, but the amounts on the ones in his hand were all too low. The scratch-off vendor sees him hesitating forever, and immediately mocks him, saying even if he flips through all these tickets he'll never be able to see if there's a big prize inside. But just then, the man spots a scratch-off on the stand with a winning amount of $500,000, so he immediately buys it for $20. But just as he's about to scratch it off, his ex-wife suddenly showed up here. She mocked him, saying he must be desperate from poverty to chase an impossible fortune through scratch-offs, but the man told her not to meddle in other people's business, and reminds her they're already divorced. Then he starts scratching the ticket he bought, but what no one expected is that he actually wins $500,000. The scratch-off vendor is instantly stunned. He never imagined the man would have such good luck, and the man's ex-wife immediately becomes money hungry, instantly proposing that she and the man get back together. But just then, the man's college classmate, Annie, also arrived. She immediately grabbed his hand, and in front of his ex-wife asked him where he was taking her on their date later. The man instantly understood Anne's meaning. He promptly placed his arm around Anne's shoulder. He then declared Anne to be his current girlfriend. He told his ex-wife not to bother him anymore. The ex-wife was instantly overcome with anger and shame. She angrily called them both bastards. Then she stormed off in a rage. Once the ex-wife was out of sight, Annie promptly told the man to remove his hand. He thanked her for saving him from the awkward situation, but Annie simply said she'd never liked his ex-wife anyway. It had been no trouble at all. Then she turned and walked away. When the man returned home, he immediately prepared to invest the $500,000 he'd won today into the stock market. But just then, he was astonished to discover he could see the future direction of the stock market. He also spotted a stock with tremendous potential. Its price would be 5 times higher in 2 days, but he only had $500,000 in capital. If he could scrape together some more cash, he'd really strike it rich. So the man immediately went to his best friend to borrow money, promising he could pay him back double in 5 days. But his best friend said he could only lend him $1 million. The man happily agreed. But just as his best friend was about to transfer the money, his mother immediately stepped in to stop him. It was because his best friend was seriously ill, and the treatment would cost over $2 million. His mother absolutely refused to let him lend the man any money. After learning about his best friend's situation, the man realized he'd been too impulsive, so he told his best friend to focus on getting treatment. Then he turned and left the place. But just as he stepped out of his friend's door, he suddenly received the $1 million transfer from his friend. He claimed he couldn't possibly raise the full $2 million for the surgery, so he wanted to lend the money to the man to take a gamble. Seeing his best friend trust him so deeply, the man immediately vowed to do everything in his power to cure his friend's illness. So the man immediately invested all his money in that stock. But he suddenly realized such opportunities didn't come along every day. He had to raise more funds. Just as he was pondering how to secure additional capital, he suddenly thought of his college classmate, Annie. He hurried straight to Annie's company, claiming he had a highly profitable venture. He asked her to lend him $2 million, and promised to repay double the amount once the deal succeeded. Seeing how serious the man was, and agreed to his request. 3 days later, the man also successfully became a multi-millionaire. After paying back the money he borrowed, he made over $10 million the next day, and suddenly showed up at the man's house. She asked him to accompany her to a jade shop to pick out a piece of jade as a birthday gift for her grandfather. The man suddenly realized this might be an opportunity. Perhaps he could use his superpower to make a fortune at the jade shop, so he followed into a jade shop. Sure enough, the moment he activated his X-ray vision, he could see the quality of every jade piece in the shop. But before the man could process this, the shop attendant, seeing how young they both looked, decided to rip them off. He approached them, claiming he could recommend a piece of jade of exceptional quality.